Hello students, welcome to the session. I hope all of you are doing very good and all of you might have completed your studies for your board examination also. Yes, quickly tell me in the chat box whether you have completed it or not. Okay? So students, what we will be doing today is just a minute. So what we will be doing today is we'll be giving you some tips and tricks so that you can perform wonderfully in your board examination. Also, we will be solving some more questions so that you can enhance your knowledge. Okay. Now, as you all know, your board exams are coming up. So first of all, you have to prepare for your examination. This preparation is a lot of academic work which you have been doing through since past year, and a lot of mental and physical health you should be also taking care of for so that you can perform wonderfully in your examinations. Okay, now as your examinations are coming up, first of all you have to take good care of your health. So what you will be concerning of, you will be first of all taking a good care of your health. Sorry, that one is not working. Okay, now how you will take good care of your health? First of all, follow daily hygiene. Wash your hands, taking proper diet, getting good amount of food, getting nutritious food, staying away from germs, and following proper hygiene practice. Now, these all are required so that you can maintain your health, because you don't want to fall ill during the last moment and spoil your examination. So stay healthy. First is and foremost it is required. Now you can do it by eating healthy food and following the proper hygiene and also taking the proper amount of required food. Then after this you have to take proper sleep. See, during examination, you can squeeze into 7 hours to 8 hours, but please sleep properly for 7 to 8 hours. This will help you in having a healthy mind so that you can give your examinations with all the informations that you have. If you are not getting proper enough amount of sleep, you would not be able to perform good or at your best in your examinations. So please take the proper 7 to 8 hours of sleep and manage your time accordingly so that you can do the revision, study, as well as sleep. Have some time for relaxed activities also so that your brain is wired in a way that you can perform wonderfully in your examination. Okay, now these are two very important tips which is required for by you to be followed, taking care of your health as well as following the sleep cycle. Then prepare for the examination. Now, how you can prepare for the examination? First of all, please make sure all the timetables that you have. If you have received the timetable, make sure you see the timetable, plan accordingly. See how many gaps are there between the examination so that you can plan it accordingly. Let's say the first paper is English, second paper is science, third paper, let's say, is social science. Now, between English and Hindi, there is 4 days gap, whereas between science and social science, there is only 2 days gap. And let's say the fourth paper is mathematics, and it has only 1 day gap. So what you will be doing? Now, in this case, as you are seeing, there is very less gap in maths exam preparation, so you have to do the revision of maths earlier. Similar goes with social science. You have to do the revision of social science earlier because they have very less gap between the examination. Okay? For science, you can do the revision after the use examination because they have sufficient 4 days over there. Or what you can do, revise all the subjects before the examination. And just after the examination, as there are 4 days, use first day To revise maths completely, use the second day's half time to revise social science and use rest of the people 5 days for science. Then according to this, you can distribute your time amongst all subjects equally. So plan it out. See the planner, see the subjects which are there, see how many days gaps are there, plan it out accordingly. So prepare your revision time. Okay, so this is very important. Prepare your revision time. Now, after this, make sure that you have made small notes, sticky notes, and you are going through them regularly for all the subjects, many subjects. If we talk especially about maths and science, there are many formulas, many short things which you need to remember in order to solve questions. All those things should be written in short format or in a sticky note format, and you should be going them every day so that you can keep in mind and you're not forgetting it. Okay, so make notes and go through them regularly. Now, if you still have anything left, it means if you have any topic left which you have not covered, understood, go through them thoroughly. Ask your teachers to explain it to them, solve some questions, understand the topic, and please complete it within the 15 to 20 days of the examination. Last 15 days before the examination are just for revision, solving questions. So how you will be doing in the last 15 days, you will devote your time for solving the questions as well as revising. As soon as the exam is coming closer, you will be increasing your time for revision and decreasing the time for question solving. Okay, so let's say now today, from now, after 20 days, your exam starts. So today you will be devoting maximum time, let's say 80% of your time for your question solving. So you solve many questions from question bank, mock papers or previous year papers. You devote your 80% time over there, and you will devote 20% time for your revision for the topics that you have to study. Then as soon as the exam dates are coming closer, you will be reducing your question solving time and you will be increasing your revision time. So during the last 5 days, your revision time should be 90% and the question solving time should decrease to 10% only. Okay. Now also rotate your subjects. It not should be done in a way that in first 5 days you are studying only science, in next 5 days you are studying English, and then the another 5 days you are studying for social science and maths after that. So if you have 7 days for revision, rotate it. So if today you are studying physics, tomorrow you should study chemistry, then biology, maths, and then repeat physics. In this way, you will be not leaving the topics. You will be getting all the topics thoroughly and you will be keeping them in your mind. So rotate your subjects. Okay. So what I mean to say is do not leave any subject for more than 5 or 6 days and then come back to it. So just keep on rotating on a daily, on a every 2 days or 3 days basis. Okay. So these are important. And now this is all what you have to do before the examination. Okay. Now, while you're preparing for the examination, you have to keep in mind, do not have to panic. So never panic. Even if your syllabus is lagging behind, your revision is not complete 2 times or even one time, do not panic. Okay. Now, if you panic, things will be going much more worse. You have to plan whatever time you have left so that you can get best out of it. Okay. Solve more and more questions. First of all, what you have to do is do not panic. Okay. Then do not see others. I mean to say, do not compare. Never compare what others have done, how many times they have revised, how many topics they have completed in one day. You should be going at your own pace. try to beat your own pace. Let's say if today you have completed one topic in 1 hour, your target should be to complete the same topic next time in, let's say, 50 minutes or 45 minutes. You should be competing with your own targets, not with any other one. Okay, so please do not compete with others, compete with yourself. Do not panic and do everything at a pace at which the time is left for your examination. So this is all what you have to do before the examination. Being healthy, being practicing, being revising all the topics, completing all of them in the times, making it, taking proper sleep, and also preparing mentally for your examination. Okay, now during just before the day of examination, what you have to do? First of all, take proper sleep. Suppose tomorrow is your examination. Now, today you take proper sleep. You don't want to study the whole night and in the morning you want to go to the exam in a cranky mood or in a sleepy mood. That will ruin your paper. Okay, so sleep properly before the day of examination. Now, revise topics. All those are very important. Revise them. Before sleeping, what you have to do, you have to check that everything is in order for tomorrow's examination. Check your admit card, check your all the pencil, paper, everything which you require during the examination for the diagrams. All these things should be completed over there and should be packed. During the day of the examination, wake up early. This is very important. Okay, so wake up early during the day of the examination. This will help you in planning your day completely. Once you get early in the morning, go through your morning routine, check everything is packed in order. All the things which you require for examination, a water bottle, pen, pencil, all the equipments for the drawing, eraser, admit card, and everything. Okay, so all these things should be in order. After that, go through the quick revision for all those sticky notes and these short notes which you have made for the all important concepts, formulas. So you should have a handy page for the important formulas or important definitions. This is basically for mathematics as well as the science papers where there is a lot of formula and lot of principles and lot of definitions are there. Make pages, so one single page for all the formulas in biology and physics and chemistry, then for definition one page. These are the pages which you want to just go through during the last minute. So take your prepare for everything, take a healthy breakfast on the last day and go through these things and ultimately go for the examination. During the examination, what you have to do, first of all, you have to plan your paper. How you will planning your paper? Go through the questions. So let me quickly tell you what we will be doing. So we have revision the topics and then we have taken breakfast. After this we have prepared items and last minute go through. Now, this is all before you enter the examination hall. Once you are in the examination hall, first thing what you will do, stay calm. Okay, don't be in a panic mode or don't be in a hurry. Stay calm. You have plenty of time for planning examination. Now, see paper thoroughly, question paper. And then what you have to decide, you have to devote your 10 to 15 minutes for going through the question paper so that you can mark all questions you know very well. And then keep the other questions which you are having doubt or you think you might not remember what to write in it. Now, this is very important. This will help you in identifying where you are standing and how much time you would be needing to complete the examination. Now, once you have seen the question paper, you have segregated the questions which you know very well, and then start answering the questions. During answering the questions, please remember you have to put the proper question number and write the answers. Okay. Leave proper spacing before starting the next question. For long-term questions, it's preferred to start with a new page. Now, complete all the questions that you know very well. Then go through the questions which you are not familiar with or you are having some trouble in solving them. Try to first of all pinpoint which chapter does this question belong. Try to recollect everything that you remember about that paper. Okay, one about that topic, and then try to connect the dots. So let's say if there is a question asking about what is hybridization, and now you are not sure which chapter question it is. First of all, uh, connect to which chapter question, how many chapters are there. So this is a biology chapter from the biology subject, so there are the chapters, and then this chapter would be coming from the strategic improvement. Now, so then you will be coming that this question will be from the genetic improvement chapter, where this hybridization will be there. Now think about what all you have learned in that chapter and then deduce towards the answer. Similarly, if a question is asked about what does pancreas do? Now think about where you have studied pancreas, which then you will be studying about its organ in our body that helps in digestion. Now, where we have studied digestion? In the chapter digestion, life processes. Now, try to recollect all the digestive system and then deduce the function of the pancreas. Okay, so this method you can use to find out some of the answers for the questions which are not exactly you are very familiar with. So this is will be your whole strategy for the examination. During the examination, have a water bottle with you so that you can stay hydrated. Okay, now I give best of luck for all of you so that you can perform wonderful examination. Now before that, let's see how you should be preparing for the examination. I hope all of you have completed your syllabus and you also have started your revision. But during the revision, the important is to filter out the important topics. Okay, use flashcards to memorize the important topics or the important concepts or the important formulas. For these, use a flashcard so that you can quickly revise those things and have a very good memory in your mind for these definitions, formulas, all these things. Okay, sorry. Now, in biology, diagrams are very important. So please start practicing your diagrams and use a diagram in the answers whenever required. For a thumb rule, all the questions which are more than 3 marks and is having no subdivision should be supplemented with a diagram. 5 marks question should be supplemented with the diagram even if it is not asked. Okay, so please practice all the biology diagrams and so that you can get the proper marks over there. Okay, now one more important thing is to minimize your distraction. In today's scenario, there are a lot of distraction, mostly your smartphone. So try to use at a minimum only on need to know basis or the action important basis. And then what you have to do, you have to complete your syllabus. Okay, so this is very important. Now this is all about in a brief preparation for your examination. Let's see how you can specifically prepare for biology. Now, in biology, there are many important topics that you should be studying. Okay, so that is first of all important. All the topics for the biology should be covered. Now, if you see the science paper that is effectively containing physics, chemistry, and biology. Now, the marks are given in the questions. For biology, let's say if the question is MCQ or one word answer or one sentence answer, basically all the 1 marks question, please write very crisply the answer. For MCQ, write the option number. Let's say there is a question asking about Which of the following glands is an mixocrine gland, which serves as a both endocrine and the endocrine exocrine and the endocrine gland? So let's say the correct answer is option B, liver. Instead of just writing option B, write completely option B, liver. Okay, for the MCQs. For fill in the blanks, directly write fill in the blanks, or what you can do, you can write the complete statement and underline your answer for the biology section. Now for the assertion and reason questions, please write the correct option over there. Okay, and if there is a true false question where the explanation is asked, write clearly whether it is true and false, and then in the next line write your explanation. Now after this, all the 3 marks questions, 4 marks question and the 5 marks question should be explained thoroughly. Okay, and you should be supporting your answers with the diagram. They are very important because they in biology they help in understanding about the questions. Let's see some questions. So for example, let's see, there is a 5 marks question which is saying certain specialized cells in animal cells are called stem cells. They have ability to divide and differentiate into different cell types. This helps the replacement of damaged organ. Now the question is, name and explain 2 methods of sexual reproduction that are similar to the stem cell and occur mostly into the multicellular organism. Okay, so this is the question over here. Now how should we write the answer for this? Now in order to write the correct answer for this, what we will be writing? First of all, we will be mentioning those 2 processes, which is, for in this case it would be the regeneration as well as the budding. Now once we have written the answers regeneration and budding, these need to be explained. If this question was asked in a 1 marks, no explanation was required. Now as this is asked in a 5 mark and it is a sub question for the 5 marks, you need to explain all the points. So for the regeneration, we'll write regeneration. In this process, if an individual organism is cut or broken into many pieces grow into, all the different pieces will grow into a separate individual. If you talk about budding, so you will write budding and then you will explain what the budding is. So in budding, small outgrowth develops or a bud is formed in the parent organism that eventually detaches and develops into a new individual. So this you will be writing over there. Now in this case, diagram is not required because each individual point carries 0.5 marks, because this question is separated into 3 parts and each of the part is carrying subdivision questions and they are carrying 0.5 marks each. So the explanation of the is sufficient. You need not support your answer with the diagram. Now but if there is a question which is having not a very important subtype, let's say another question, for example, let's see, the question is asking about a married couple who is having 4 children and one of these is having the sickle cell anemia, whereas the other 4 children did not show any symptom. Now the parents also do not show any symptom of the sickle cell anemia. Now the trait of the sickle cell anemia is a sex-linked chromosome. Now here it is asking whether the disease is a dominant and recessive. This is first part of the question. Second part of the question is, if the child has sickle cell anemia, got married to a person without a mutant in the sickle cell anemia gene, what percentage of the children would have the sickle cell anemia? Show the cross. Now as there are only 2 subtypes, so 2 sub questions in this, so each will be carrying, so first will be carrying 2 marks and the second question will be carrying 3 marks, being the longer question. Here you have to support your answer with the diagram, and in this case you should be drawing the family tree diagram to explain how the child is getting the genes over there, okay, and how the traits are developed. So you have to do the cross, you have to do the pedigree analysis, and you have to make the chart completely so that you can explain it. Now if a similar question is asked based on digestive system, you have to draw the digestive system. Okay, so this is all based on the question. If the question is having many sub questions, you can skip the diagram if they are not having many sub questions and individual questions are carrying 2 marks or more than 2 marks, you have to draw the diagram over there. Okay. In biology, few concepts are very important. Please go through them and complete it because they will be helping you a lot during your examination. For biology, diagrams, use flashcards, and for important concepts and formulas also use flashcard. They are very important. Now, this is all for your preparation. I hope all of you have done it already, and if not, please start doing it because they will be very important. Okay. Now let us quickly solve some questions from your mock paper. Okay, we will be solving it one by one, and you can use the comment box to answer the questions. So the first question over here is, which of the following statement is true? Now, whenever you're solving the question, please see and in the paper try to underline. So if question is asking the statement is true, many times we get confused between whether the statement is asking the correct statement or the incorrect statement. The question is asking true statement or a false statement. So underline it so that you can have a clear picture with what the question is asking. So this is asking which of the following statement is true over here about the uptake of water in plant. It occurs all the time due to diffusion. Water enters the root due to osmosis. Okay. At night when transpiration is low, root do not take up water. The movement of water from the roots to leaves is bidirectional. Now what do you think? What will be the correct answer? Quickly tell me in the chat box. Hurry up students, let me see who is giving the fastest answer. See, these are all MCQs, and as I mentioned, you have to just write the option and then you have to just write what would be the correct answer over here. So hurry up and let's see who is giving the correct answer. You have to tell me which of the following is a true statement. So let's solve it. It occurs all the time due to the diffusion. Now, you know that water uptake in the plant is not through the diffusion. Okay, so this is wrong. Water enters the root due to osmosis. This is correct. So water is entering into the root hair cells through osmosis. So this option is correct. At night when transpiration is low, root do not take up the water. Now this is again false. Root take up the water even though the transpiration is low during the night. The movement of water from the roots to leaf is bidirectional. This is again wrong. We know the transport of water in the xylem is unidirectional, whereas the transportation of the food, that is known as translocation, is bidirectional, which takes place in the phloem. Now, as there is option B is correct, so in your answer sheet you will be writing B, water enters the root due to osmosis, the complete statement, so that examiner has a clear picture of what you are answering. So let's move to the next question. The next question is an important question which is asking based on the graph. The question is asking oxygen saturation level refers to the extent hemoglobin is bound to oxygen. Okay. As altitude increases, the atmospheric pressure decreases. Which of the following graphs correctly represents the oxygen saturation level at the altitude increases? Quickly answer students. See, there are four different graphs given over here, and then you have to choose which of the following is the correct graph based on the oxygen saturation as the altitude is increasing. Now, as you see, this is a graph, and there are on one axis there is oxygen saturation, and on the another axis there is altitude. So this way the altitude is increasing, and on this side the oxygen saturation is increasing. Now you know, as we climb up to the altitude, what is falling? Pressure is falling. So as we are increasing the altitude, what is happening? The pressure is falling down, and pressure plays a very important role in diffusion of oxygen in our body. How come? You remember, in the alveoli, the oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged based on their partial pressure. So if the partial pressure is less for the oxygen, the diffusion will be at a low rate, because diffusion is directly proportional to the pressure. So if you increase the pressure, diffusion will also increase. If there is low pressure, the diffusion rate will also come down. Now with this, what we understand? We understand as we move towards the height, or as we increase the altitude, the oxygen saturation will fall. Can you see any of the graph which depicts that? At a ground level, where there is maximum pressure, what will be there? The oxygen saturation will be maximum. So let's see which of the graph has the maximum pressure. So when the altitude is minimum, which is 0, or what we call at a sea level, it should be maximum. So here it is maximum, here it is maximum. In these two cases it is 0. So it means these two graphs are wrong. They say that when we are at the lowest altitude, which is the sea level, there is minimum oxygen saturation. We all might die if that will happen. So these two graphs are wrong. So P and R are wrong. We left with Q and S. They both have the highest oxygen saturation at a sea level. That is correct. Now, as we are increasing the altitude, the oxygen saturation level is not changing in S, which is wrong. Okay, what will happen? The oxygen saturation will keep on falling. Why falling? Because the pressure is decreasing, and pressure is directly proportional to the diffusion. So, due to low pressure, low oxygen will be diffused and low oxygen saturation in our body. So, the correct answer is option B, which is Q. So in examination, you will be writing option B and Q like this. Okay, so this is important. Now let's move to the next question. Which of the following methods are useful to prevent fertilization even when ovulation occurs? Okay, this question is regarding the reproductive health, and the question is asking which of the following method is important, or more than one method is important or used to prevent fertilization. So we have to prevent fertilization even when the ovulation has occurred. Now, what is the event of fertilization? Fertilization is an event where male and the female gamete fuses together, which is sperm and ova fuses together. What is ovulation? Ovulation is the release of female gamete, which is known as the ova. Okay. Now, which of the following method is preventing the fusion of male and female gamete even after the female gametes are released? Now, as you know, the contraceptive methods work in a very different manner. One can be a barrier method, which is preventing the fusion of male and female gamete. Second can be controlling the male gamete. So male gamete is not produced and not reaching the female tract. Third is controlling the female gamete, so that female gamete is not released and then they are not occurring in the fertilization. Okay, so these are the different methods which can be used for the prevention of fertilization. Now this is asking where the ovulation has occurred. First option is saying surgical blocking of the fallopian tube. So what we are doing over here in this case, so if we draw a rough diagram of the female reproductive system, what you will see, the ovaries are present on these two corners, and this is the fallopian tube. If we tie a knot over here, then what is happening place that we are calling is this process as tubectomy. And in tubectomy, what is taking place? In tubectomy, we tie or cut the fallopian tube so that even when the ova is released, it won't be able to reach to the ampulla region, and sperm entering through here would not be able to reach. Why? Because there is a barrier created over here. Okay, so surgical blocking of the fallopian tube will prevent the fertilization even when the ovulation is taking place. Okay. Now the second is copper T. How does copper T works? So copper T is an intrauterine device. Okay. In this case, what we are doing, we are fixing a device in the uterus. Here copper T releases copper ions. And what does copper ion do? Copper ions interfere with the mobility of the sperm as well as the life of the sperm. So they hinder the sperm growth as well as the mobility of the sperm. So basically they kill the sperm and they do not allow the sperm to reach up to the ampulla of the fallopian tube where they will be fertilizing the ova. So copper T is again preventing the fertilization. In this case, ova and sperm both are present, but it is prevented. So that is also correct. Next option is oral pills. How the oral pills work? Oral pills work in many ways. Okay. Most commonly, the oral pills which are taken as the analog of the hormones, and they prevent the ovulation. Okay. So what they do, they just prevent the ovulation. And now, if they are preventing the ovulation, what will happen? If they are preventing the ovulation, the ova will not be released, and this will not qualify for the method which is preventing the fertilization when the ovulation occurs, because it is preventing the ovulation and then stopping the conceiveness. Okay, so here ova is not present. Last is condom. Condom is again most used barrier method contraceptive. Now, why we are calling it barrier method? Because it creates a barrier between the two gametes, which is male gamete and the female gamete. So it is not allowing the male gamete to enter inside the female reproductive tract. So both the gametes are present, ovulation is also taking place, but the fertilization is prevented by a barrier method. So that also qualifies for the question. So the correct options are P, Q, and S. So option C. So how you will be writing? Again, C, only P, Q, and S. This is how you will be writing your answers in the examination sheet. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is, in cattle, having horns is a recessive trait. This is very interesting question. To not having horns, which is capital H. Okay, so see, cattle's having horn is a recessive trait, and that is denoted by small h. Generally, the recessive traits are denoted by small caps, okay, and lowercase alphabets, and the dominant characters are denoted by uppercase alphabets. So not having horns is capital H. So the gene which is controlling over here is H or gene over here. When cattle with horns are crossed with cattle that do not have horns, the number of the offspring having horn was equal to those to those not having horns. Which of these is most likely to be true? Now we'll draw a cross to see what is happening over here. When cattle with horns, so horns is a recessive trait, so we'll write small h, and they are having horns, which is the phenotype, and genotype is small h. They are crossed with cattle that do not have horn. So not having horn is a dominant trait, so we'll write it capital H, but the other part we don't know. So cattle, so we'll write first of all no horns. Now in no horns there can be two conditions. What are the two conditions? It can be either capital H, it can be either capital H, small h. But it is not mentioned whether they are pure homozygous or they are heterozygous condition. Okay, so we'll write it blank. Now what will happen when there would be the crossing? We'll make the square, and what we'll observe here, we'll write capital H from the this parent, and gap here we'll write small h. So capital H, here small h, and there would be a gap. We don't know what we will be filling over here, so we'll be now moving towards the question. The number of the offspring having the horn was equal to those that are not having the horn. So what's the result? The result is saying there is 50% population that is having the horn and 50% not having the horn over here. So as you see, these capital H and small h, they are dominant. Dominant means they will have no horns. So out of 4, 2 are already having no horns. So what about the other 2? They should have horns. And if they are having horns, they should be recessive. Only then they can have horns. Now to be recessive, the other allele should also be small h, and here small h. So what it means? It means here it will be small h, and here it will be small h. It means one of the parent is heterozygous, other is homozygous recessive. Now let's move towards the options. Both the parents are homozygous dominant. This is wrong. One parent is homozygous dominant. But this is again wrong, because one parent is homozygous recessive and other parent is heterozygous. So this is also wrong. Both parents are heterozygous. This is again wrong. Both parents are not heterozygous. One of them is homozygous recessive. The last option says one parent is heterozygous. And this is the correct option. Option D over here. Why this is correct? Because one parent is heterozygous over here, which is the parent which was having no horn. Okay, so this is the correct option over here. Again, when you are writing this answer, write option D, one parent is heterozygous. So that would be the correct answer over here. Okay, got it, students? If you have any doubt in understanding any questions that we are discussing, please drop down in the chat box and I would be very happy to help you out. Let's move towards the next question. Patient X was suffering from a pancreatic condition due to which the pancreas was not functioning adequately. Which of the following is doctor likely to suggest to such an individual? Including a large amount of protein in the diet, eating a diet with low fat content, eating only carbohydrate, including only liquid food. Now, this is a very interesting question. So what do you think? Person's pancreas is not working. What he should avoid in his diet? Large amount of protein he should include, eating the diet with low fat content, only carbohydrate, including only liquid food. Let us now rule out all the options and we'll come to the point. See, only liquid food. This is not correct. This is only advised to a person when the person is having any problem in the esophagus, so that he or she cannot engulf the solid food, problem with the tongue and the teeth, so the person cannot masticate or chew the food. Okay, then only the liquid diets or liquid foods are given. Let's move towards the only carbohydrates. Where the carbohydrate digests? Carbohydrate is the first biomolecule to be digested. The digestion starts in the mouth itself with the help of salivary amylase. Now the carbohydrate is digested in the mouth, then it is digested again with the help of small intestine juice, as well as it is digested with the help of pancreatic juice also. Okay, so now 3 places the digestion is there. Even if the pancreas is not working, on the other 2 places carbohydrate will be digested. So again, this is not a problem over here. Let's move to option number 1. Include large amount of protein in the diet. Protein is the second biomolecule to be digested. Where the digestion takes place? Digestion takes place in the stomach. So protein's digestion starts in our stomach itself. Then it is partially digested by pancreatic juice, and then complete digested by the small intestine. Okay, now as again there are two more places, so this is not the problem for the individual. Fat is the one which is digested in the end. Its digestion starts with the pancreatic juice. So body receives the bile juice from liver and pancreatic juice from the pancreas. Bile juice emulsifies the fat, and then pancreatic juice or pancreatic lipase digests the fat. After that, the further digestion is assisted by the intestinal juice or the intestinal lipase, as the initial work was to be done by the pancreas and they are not working. So the initial digestion of the fats will not take place. Hence, the intestinal lipase will also be not be able to perform very adequately. Majority of the fat is digested by the pancreas itself once they are emulsified by the bile juice. So the person should eat low fat content. That is the correct answer, option B. This is also the case for those persons who have gallbladder removed. Many times gallbladder got stones there, and doctors perform a surgery which is known as cholecystomy, where they just remove the gallbladder from there. Now, in those persons, bile juice is not stored in the gallbladder so that it can be released when the food is coming. Now, what will happen if there is no bile juice? Emulsification of the fat will not take place, and hence the adequate digestion of the fat will not take place. Those persons are also advised to take a low fat content in their diet because their body won't be able to digest fat properly. Okay, now let's move towards the next question. I hope these all questions are making sense to you now and you are enjoying solving them. Next question is, plant receives energy from the sun which they utilize for several purposes. The energy utilized for which of the following plant process gets transferred to the next trophic level that consumes plant? Okay, now this is question where we are asking about the environment. Okay, only growth, only respiration, only transport of the substance and reproduction, all growth, photosynthesis, respiration, transport of the substance. So quickly tell me, students, what do you think is the correct answer over here? See, the ultimate source of the energy is sun. So sun gives us the sunlight. That sunlight is transferred from the light energy into the chemical energy by the plants. So sun is the ultimate source of energy and plants are the primary producers which can fix the light energy into a chemical energy. Then comes the consumers who are feeding on the producers or they're feeding on the converted energy product. Okay, now when plant converts their energy, when they make their energy using the sunlight, what they're basically doing, they are fixing it in the form of the food inside their body, and they are utilizing it for all the other purposes, for like growth, respiration, transport, reproduction. Okay, but if the plant is respiring or doing transport of the substance or the reproduction, those energies are lost during the process. So once the respiration has been done, the energy is lost. Once the transportation of the substance has done, the energy is lost. Once the reproduction has been completed, the energy is lost. Those energy cannot be transferred from one organism to the other organism. How they are transferred? When they are utilizing it for their growth purposes. So let's say the plant is very small for this height. Then it grow very big with a lot of leaves. What are they? This is growth. How it has growth? By utilizing the energy from the sunlight. Now, this growth has resulted in lot of leaves and lot of stems and the other parts. These leaves, fruits, stems, and parts, when eaten by the other consumers, they will be helping in transfer of energy. So energy is utilized for the growth part only, can be transferred from one trophic level to the other trophic level. This is also true for the other organism. So this is for only for the example for the plant. But if you see the primary consumer, which is feeding on the plant, that will also grow in this size. And the growth is only transferred from one trophic level to the other trophic level. Okay, so only the growth is which is transferring the energy from one to the other trophic level. And remember, what's the law? 10% law. So out of all the sunlight that we are receiving, only 1% sunlight is fixed by the plant. Okay, and whenever the energy transfer is taking place from one trophic level to the other trophic level, only 10% of the energy is transferred, 90% of the energy is lost. It means when grasshopper is feeding on the plant, it can only take 10% of the plant's energy. So let's say the grasshopper is eating 10 grams of leaf. Okay, so the energy stored in 10 gram of leaf, for example, let's say it is having 100 kilojoule. Only 10 kilojoule energy will be taken up by the grasshopper. When grasshopper is eaten up by some frog, let's say, so if the whole body of the grasshopper is having 100 kilojoule, frog will only get 10 kilojoule out of it. 90% of the energy will be lost during the process. So that is known as 10% law. Whenever the energy transfer takes place from one trophic level to another trophic level, the 10% of the energy is transferred. The rest is lost during the process. Next question. Action of which among the following is crucial to the formation of ozone? Human, sunlight, carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons. This is asking about action of which of the following is crucial to the formation of ozone. So students, please tell me what will be the correct answer. What do you think is the correct answer over here? It is the humans do not play a significant, or it has no role in the formation of ozone. We are talking about the ozone which is present in our atmosphere. Although we can make ozone through the chemical process, but that would be very negligible as compared to the ozone which is present in our atmosphere. So we are talking about the ozone layer, and humans have no role in there. Carbon dioxide is not involved uh, in any part in the formation of ozone. Chlorofluorocarbons, which is shortly known as CFC, or another type is HCFC, which is hydrochlorofluorocarbon. They are not a part of the ozone formation, but they are responsible for depletion of the ozone layer. Means they are responsible for depleting the ozone. Sunlight is responsible for making the ozone. Okay, so that is the correct answer over here. So remember this. And from where this CFC and HCFC are released? Mostly from ACs, refrigerator. So the gas which is used in refrigerators and AC for the cooling purpose are mostly CFC, HCFCs, and the deodorants which you used, they contain. These gases cause the depletion of ozone. Okay, nowadays more energy efficient and different gases are used which are not depleting the ozone layer, and they are very different from CFC. But still many of the appliances and many of the deodorants and many of the things are still being used which releases CFC, and that is hampering our ozone layer. Okay, now two more questions before we end our webinar. Okay, so be focused. Now the question is, variation plays Variation always provide a survival advantage to an organism. Variation can be caused due to incorrect DNA copying. What do you think is the correct answer over here if you are talking about this assertion and reason? Now see, in assertion and reason, there are four options we have to choose. Okay, both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. That can be the first option. Second option would be both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion over here. A is true, which is assertion is true, but the reason is false. And last option is assertion is false, but the reason is true over here. Okay, so based on this, we will be answering these questions. Now, whenever we are answering the assertion and reason questions, you have to take in consideration that you have to read both these statements and first of all check whether both these statements are correct or not. Okay, so see, variation always plays a survival advantage due to an organism. This is a correct statement. Variation can be caused due to incorrect DNA copying. Okay, now here this statement is wrong. Now, when one of the statement is wrong, it is automatically said that option A and B are ruled out. C and D can be the case, and as here the reason is false and the assertion is true, what will be the correct answer? The correct answer would be option C. Sorry, option D will be the. I'm really sorry. This option D will be the correct answer because in this case, opposite is taking place. Variation always plays a survival advantage to an organism. This is true, but this is not entirely true. Why? Because many times variation may lead to a disadvantageous position also. Let's talk about the sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is a variation. Now, in this case, sickle cell anemia, if you see, people are getting killed once they are in their adulthood age, who are having the homozygous condition for the sickle cell anemia, where all of their RBCs are having sickle cell. So these individuals eventually die before the puberty because their oxygen demand cannot be fulfilled and they die. If we talk about the heterozygous condition, where half of their RBCs are normal and half of their RBCs are sickle cell, these persons will have problem where they go to the higher altitude because they won't be having the sufficient oxygen transfer for their body demand. But this is an advantage for individuals living in sub-Saharan Africa region. Why? Because there are a lot of incidents of malaria over there, and malarial parasite resides in the RBC. If the RBC is in sickle cell, malaria parasites find it hard to enter inside. So that's a survival advantage in a particular region, which is the sub-Saharan African region. But in all the other conditions, that is not a survival advantage. So variation provides survival advantage to an organism, but that is not entirely true. So the assertion is wrong over here. Variation can be caused due to the incorrect DNA copy. Okay, so yes, this is one of the reason how the variation is caused. So variation can caused by many methods: incorrect DNA copy, mutation, deletion, okay, X-rays or chromosome change. So there are many reasons by which a variation can occur. So variation is basically change in the genetic constituent of the organism, and the genetic constituent of the organism can be changed by many methods. One of them is the incorrect DNA copying or the errors which are occurred during the DNA replication. Okay, others are mutations, as we have discussed. Apart from mutation, there is deletion which can occur. Apart from deletion, there is one more thing that you will be studying is the internal mutation, that is known as the jumping genes. Sometimes there is internal changes, and then there is the crossing over also, which takes place during the meiosis, that results in different variations. There are many methods. So one of them is the incorrect DNA copy. So as you can see, as it is written, survival always provide. So this statement is wrong because it is not always providing. Sometimes it may provide, sometimes it may not. So this statement is wrong. Now it says variation can be caused. It is not saying only caused by the incorrect DNA copying, which I initially thought. So that's why this is the wrong statement over here, correct statement over here, because this is one of the reasons. As the assertion is wrong and the reason is correct statement, option D is correct over here. So we'll write option D. Assertion is false and the reason is true. Now the next question is, omnivorous receive 10% of their energy from the trophic level below them. Remember, we have discussed this question just now. Okay, now the question is asking, assertion is saying omnivorous receives 10% of their energy from the trophic level below them. Reason mentioned is an omnivorous is always in the trophic level just above the herbivorous. Now what do you think is the correct answer over here? Quickly tell me. So the first statement, which is the assertion, is true. Okay, see, omnivorous receive 10% of their energy from the trophic level below them, and it is also true for herbivorous also. All the herbivorous and the omnivorous, they are receiving 10% of the energy from the trophic level below it. So at every trophic level, only the 10% of the energy is transferred. Okay. Now the reason mentioned over here is that omnivorous is always in the trophic level just above the herbivorous. Now this is not entirely correct. If we talk about omnivorous, so omnivorous can feed on plants as well as they can feed on animals. So they won't be just above the herbivorous. Sometimes they can be above the plants also. So it can be plant, omnivorous, and then the carnivorous. And it can be plant, herbivorous, omnivorous, and then a carnivorous. So this statement is wrong over here. So what we will be choosing? We will be choosing option C. Assertion is true, but the reason is false over here. Okay, so I hope student all of you have enjoyed solving these questions with us. Remember, these are just few questions from your mock test. Please do complete your mock test. If you have any doubt, you can ask us using the comment box, during our session. Please feel free to resolve your doubt. Apart from all the things that we have discussed during the preparation, the most important thing is to resolve all your doubts before you go to your examination. Okay, so go to the examination hall without any doubts. We'll meet again soon. Till then, take good care of yourself and best of luck for your examinations. Thank you, students. Bye bye.